Hello, welcome back to Burying the Sausage, a wedding podcast for the overwhelmed newlyweds with me, Amy Taylor. Today, I cannot wait to bring you my guest. She is a fellow hairstylist. Her name is Stacie Goodwin. I cannot believe we have not spoken about hair yet, and we're on episode 4. I think that's extremely restrained of me. We cover lots of subjects today, which I think are going to be really useful. If you are struggling to decide what to do with your hair, we talk about that and how to figure that out for yourself, because it can seem like a really big decision. We also talk about one of our favourite hairstyles, the Hollywood waves. Now, I know it's going to seem completely crazy, but there's actually a lot to talk about this style. This style is not for everyone. We go into detail about why, and I think you're going to find it really useful if that is the sort of style that you are looking on having. And also, lastly, we touch on who to bring or not to bring for your wedding hair trial. Now, this is something that can really throw a client off sometimes. And I think you have to think about it quite carefully. And we talk a little bit about this as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this episode. I'm so excited to bring it to you. And yeah, let's crack on with the show. Hi, Stacie. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Amazing. Well, do you know what? I'm very excited about this because although we have known each other for a long, long time, this is actually the first time that we have spoken face to face. I mean, we're on the internet, but we've only really voice noted and messaged before, haven't we?
Yeah, it's really strange, isn't it, to have that kind of relationship with a lot of these wedding vendors, but we don't ever really cross paths because we do the same job. So it's not very often that we get to meet each other. And in our case, we've never met each other properly. So
no,
yeah.
I know. So I'm so excited to have you here today. And also, we do a very similar thing. We both love a lot of the same styles and a lot of the same things. So I thought it was perfect to invite you to be my co-host today. We have got so much to talk about. And we are going to try and cover as much as we can. But I do think this is probably going to be a 2-parter, maybe a 3-parter. Who knows? Who knows?
We have lots to say.
We have a lot to say and a lot of help to give clients. We're both really experienced. So tell everybody a little bit about your background and what your job is. I know it's very similar to mine, but yeah, just give us a short history.
Yeah, okay. So I started doing the bridal hair probably about 13 years ago when I left the salon environment, probably similar to you, didn't have any bridal hair training in the salon. It's not really something that is taught, is it? People don't really come to the salon for wedding hair. So yeah, once I left there, I then decided to venture into this bridal hair industry, and yeah, never looked back. Love it. It's it's all I love to do.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think we will just say at the beginning that we are both bridal hair specialists, which means that is pretty much the vast majority of our work, isn't it? For me, that's all my work. I do some occasional, I do the occasional commercial bit of work, which, you know, for non-industry people listening, that just means kind of adverts and things like that.
Yeah.
But 95% of my work is weddings. Do you cut or colour as well, Stacie, or do you do a little bit still?
Teeny bit. You know how it is when you've been in that salon, and then I've had people with me now for 18 years. I'm not old enough for that. So yeah, I keep a little handful of people that I do sort of cuts and colour on. But yeah, same as you, probably 95% of the time it's bridal and special occasion.
Yeah, and I think actually this would be a really good point to mention at the beginning, is that bridal hair is its own speciality. I know I've just said that, but just because you can cut and colour, it doesn't mean that you have been given some sort of mystical ability to also be able to just suddenly be able to do bridal hair as well, because you train for each of those subjects, don't you? So if you're a great cutter, doesn't mean you like colouring. If you're a great colourist, doesn't mean you like cutting. Just because you're a great cutter doesn't mean you can do bridal hair.
Absolutely.
because I've been doing this for, for such a long time now, I'm getting on 15 years. I often, thankfully, have a really nice relationship with a lot of other hairstylists in Norwich and Norfolk. And if one of their regulars is like, oh, Jane, can you do my wedding hair for me? That stylist is like, there is no way I'm doing wedding hair. Go and see Amy, go and see her. I don't do it. So we just want to make that distinction. But there are people that are great cutters and great colourers that are also great wedding hairstylists. But it's just completely separate skills, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the hairstyles that I was putting out there when I was at the salon is just not even comparable to the work that I do today, because I think we got taught, what is it, like a French plait and a French pleat, and that's about it, really. Like, it's just, there's just no training in that curriculum, or there certainly wasn't back then. So
no, I think at level 3 they do a little bit now, but we dedicate our lives are dedicated to bridal hair, aren't they? So I think that is a brilliant start. So what we're going to start off with first is anybody listening who is getting married, maybe they've just got engaged and they're on the beginning of their wedding planning journey and they haven't given their hair very much thought. The first thing is to decide on the type of like vibe you are looking for. And sometimes that's easy. Sometimes people know what they want, don't they? They're like, for example, if I was getting married again, the hair I've got on today, this would be my hair. Like, I know I love my hair up. I don't wear it down. I don't want it down. It's my worst nightmare. So some people know, don't they? And others, you need to go through like a whole series of questions with them to try and help them to find out what they want. So if somebody's going to come to you, they're having a consultation, Stacie, and they say to you, I just don't know where to start. What would you do? What would you say? How would you start that conversation with the client?
Yeah, that is actually more common, I think, than people may think, because some people, like you say, they get used to it, but other people are just so overwhelmed in having to make such a huge decision that they just don't know where to start. So I would probably say, first and foremost, I mean, there's several factors, but first and foremost, I'd say, like you've just said, how are you most comfortable? I made the mistake of wearing my hair down on my wedding day. And whilst I don't hate it, I don't wear my hair down. I mean, this is down, but it's still tied back. I'm not a hair down person, and I just felt I should wear it down. So I did. And actually I'm like, why did I do that? So I would always just say, regardless of, the vibe, you're dressed to an extent, how do you feel most comfortable? And actually, that might even then play into, if you haven't yet decided what dress you're going to wear, maybe consider that when you're even dress shopping. If you're having like a high necked or very detailed and you're somebody that loves to wear your hair down, maybe just consider, is that actually going to work? That can influence your dress choice as well. But firstly, I would say, how are you more comfortable? I think that has to be the number one thing for sure.
That's so interesting, Stacie, actually, because usually when I contact my clients or when they come to me and they book, the first thing I say to them is, come back to me when you've chosen your dress and we'll go from there, because that can influence how you wear your hair.
Sure.
And I think a lot of the time that is true, but I think you've actually made a really, really good point, because if you know you're a hair down girl, then you need to be choosing your dress around hair down.
Absolutely.
Don't have all this gorgeous beading or lace or stunning neckline if you are just like, there is no way that I want to wear my hair up, because that neckline is then going to be covered, isn't it? And so you really need to choose something that's got a lower neckline.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I feel like I've learned something already just from speaking to you. Maybe I will approach it from that angle more in future. Okay, so I would say the second thing would be, first of all, up or down. And then considering what your hair does and doesn't do, right?
Yes.
So for what I mean by that is, if you are wanting curls or loose waves, if you want something loose, your hair's going to need to hold a wave or a curl well. If it's that hair type that does not hold a curl or a wave, and you're like, I want like this beachy, relaxed, like barely a wave in my hair, that is not going to happen necessarily. No. I mean, extensions would probably be the answer for something like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say, yeah, look at what your hair will and won't do. And extensions are something I speak to my clients about a lot, and I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
What percentage of your clients do you think have extensions in? Or
Oh, yeah, I think that's becoming higher. I think more and more people are becoming open to the idea of having extensions, which is just music to my ears. I'd probably say a good 60% now are probably having extensions because, like you say, if
wow.
you want this down style and you come to us and say, I really want this down bitch style, and then my next question is, how well does your hair hold a girl? And they go, no, it doesn't hold. I'm like, no, you have to have something in there to help you. You just have to.
You do. And well, actually, let's talk a little bit about extensions because I know that when clients show me their inspiration, and do you know what, Stacie? They often show me your pictures.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I'm like, I know for a fact Stacie has got extensions in there. Like, I know that.
Yeah.
And some often, I'd actually say more often than not now, people are like, that's great. I'll do whatever it takes to get that style. That is what I'll do.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'd say maybe like 20% of the time, the client looks slightly frightened.
Yeah.
She's having images in her mind like the year is 2004, and you can see all of the lines and rows of extensions in it, and the layers all coming out, and the mismatched colouring.
Oh,
And I have to kind of like handhold and explain and just be like, I promise you, everything you've looked at, probably 90% of the images that you've emailed over to me, they've all got
yeah.
extensions in. And I promise
Yeah.
you, because I'm really used to putting them in, that they are comfortable and seamless. How do you handle objections when people ask you about clip-in extensions?
I think I've got a little bit politely blunt in my old age, um, in to say that's fine, but it won't look like that picture,
And
and
it won't
I'll
last.
and it won't last. Yeah, it won't look like that. And I just kind of try and educate people. So I'll say to them, look, obviously, people say, oh yeah, my hair might hold a curl well or whatever it may be, but we're talking. This needs to be lasting a good 10 plus hours. It's not just your average night out for 2 or 3 hours where it
Yeah.
still looks all right. It's all day and you're being photographed. You're spending thousands of pounds on photography, videography, your dress, your hair and makeup should play into that as well. And you want the whole thing to look, you know, beautiful. You want to just feel your best on your wedding day. So if it means adding in some clip-in hair extensions to make that hairstyle last through to your first dance and beyond, then it's a no-brainer to me. And when I kind of say it like that, it kind of then people are a bit like, okay, yeah, got a point. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah,
I would
but
say
some people just don't.
when a client does finally try them, and when you do use them at the trial
Yeah,
and you give them that mirror or you show them in the mirror, they're usually like, I that's not even, I can't believe that's even me. Like, I can't believe
yeah,
it. And they are, I mean, I don't think I've ever had a client that's looked in the mirror after using extensions and they've gone, oh, that looks terrible. Like, I don't think anybody ever
no,
has. Like, they're just
no,
like, I can't believe that's my hair. It looks amazing. It's so seamless. And I think when you're used to using them like we are, they're comfortable and they just make you feel amazing. And
yeah.
just for anybody listening, if they've not used clip-in hair extensions before, they're the ones that look like a Hawaiian skirt, a big weft, aren't they? They're a big weft.
Yeah,
And they look like a big fringe and they've got the clips on and you clip them in rows or layers. And I always recommend 100% human hair
yeah.
because it's styled like human hair. It looks like human hair. I have had a couple of clients before bring me fake hair and it doesn't curl the same. Even whatever it says on the packet, it could say curls like human hair. I'm telling you this right now. It
No,
doesn't.
it doesn't. It just doesn't. I had this happen to me on a wedding day once
Oh
where
no.
they'd gone against the advice and they said, oh, but the lady in the shop said it will curl. And I was like, it won't. Anyway, managed to pull like a little bit out of it and wrapped it around my tongue. I thought, worst case scenario, we can just snip that bit off and she can send it back. And I said, look, it won't curl. And it kind of goes like in a bit of a right angle, doesn't it? It doesn't kind of really do anything.
Yeah.
But obviously we were left then on that wedding morning of no hair extensions, so we had to change the style. It was for a bridesmaid, luckily, not bride, but
Oh, sure. Yeah, that wouldn't happen with a bride. I mean, because we prep them, don't
no,
we? So that
absolutely.
is fine. So actually, I say that there is one exception. Anybody listening, please don't get any ideas. I do not want your artificial hair. We only want 100% human hair here. But I had
Yes.
one exception actually, and that was this year, where she had artificial hair, and I'll send you a picture, Stacie. It did actually look absolutely bloody lush, and it's the only time it's ever happened.
Wow.
But I am I'm a 100% human hair person,
Yeah.
so that would be our first kind of tip, I suppose, is
Yeah.
that if you are showing us these pictures on Instagram, if you don't have thick hair that holds a curl all day, then extensions are probably something you'll need to invest in. They are an investment, but I personally think they're worth it because you can use them again and again, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have got so many sets now, so I'll hire out various sets if they're the right length and color match. But actually this year in particular, I've had two or three brides say, actually, I think I'll just buy my own so I can keep them. So people are
Yeah.
coming around to the idea a bit more, which is great.
Yeah, brilliant. Amazing. And usually I'll send out my clients like a list of where they can get them because there are loads
Yeah.
of great places now, aren't there? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I would love to be sponsored by a hair extension brand, but I really love Foxy Locks, really excellent. Milk and Blush, love them as well. Any others that you
Yeah.
like?
I'm a clip hair girly. I am. I use clip hair quite a lot. I do like Milk and Blush as well. But yeah, clip hair are my go-to. Yeah, I do like those ones.
Yeah, their colour range is
So
absolutely
broad.
amazing, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
so good. Okay, so
really
yeah,
good.
if you are listening and you're on the fence about extensions, I'm saying right now, if you hand us a picture that we think requires it, then I think you should definitely invest.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that 100%.
Okay, Stacie, we are going to move on to a topic now that is very dear to both of our hearts.
Yes.
So, the next thing we want to talk about is a style that is really, really popular and has probably become popular over, I would say, the past 2 years. I would say that it has
Yeah.
become very popular again. And it is a style that I'm bought again and again in photographs. And the reason we want to discuss this particular hairstyle today is because it's not for everyone. And the hairstyle that we will be talking about are Hollywood waves. So, Stacie, explain to anybody listening what we mean by Hollywood waves. What do they look like?
So your Hollywood waves are your deep set waves, well, your classic deep set waves, where all of the hair is curled in the same direction. Typically, you'll have a side parting with some volume, kind of quiff-like on the side, and all of the hair then cascading round on one side. That's probably a very classic Hollywood waves, I'd say.
Yeah, it's very red carpet.
Very glam.
It's very glam, and I would describe the type of waves we do as a modern Hollywood wave because they are
Yeah.
wavy rather than curly. And
Yes.
they are, I mean, just don't think it's ever going to age. It's never going to look dated. It's so glamorous. I absolutely love it.
Same.
And I personally don't think you can go wrong. So generally you'll see the style on a side parting, but you do occasionally see it in the centre. Do you do many centre
Yeah.
parts?
I think that's becoming a little bit more, maybe a little bit more modern. Maybe we'll see a bit more of that next year, the centre part and the slightly more, not soft, not like a beachy wave. It's still a Hollywood wave, but maybe slightly larger waves and kind of brought round to the front seems to be creeping in a little bit more.
Yeah.
Although I did a recent post on my page and I was asking people what were their favourites, and actually it was still the deep set side parting
Yeah.
round to the front. So I
That's really
think that one's,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, amazing. So, yeah, I mean, I've always loved it. And as you know, like when I started in London about 15 years ago, I worked in a vintage salon. Like that's pretty much all we did. It wasn't that type of wave. This sort of wave that
yeah,
we're doing now is very much of the last few years. But in
Yeah.
terms of that side parting, that sweep over to the side. So if you're watching this on Spotify or wherever you are, you can see what I'm doing. I'm doing this little sweep. And that is beautiful. And what's really nice about that is that you can make that as exaggerated or as kind of subtle as you like, can't
Yeah.
you?
Absolutely.
So you can shape it to your face shape and your own taste, really. But as lovely as this style is, we need to talk our clients through it when they show us these pictures, don't we? Because
Absolutely.
let's talk about why we need to do that. And I'm going to ask you in a moment what clients need to consider if that is what they want to do.
Sure.
But I just want to talk about an objection that I sometimes get, or something that people sometimes find. When I first started doing this style a couple of years ago, the clients would bring in these photographs of these beautiful Hollywood waves, and I'd be like, brilliant, excellent. I was buzzing, so excited. I'd create these absolutely, what I thought were gorgeous waves on this client. And I was like, wow, oh, so beautiful. And the client would look at herself and be like, oh, it's very formal, isn't it? And I'm like, yes,
Yes.
it's a red carpet wave. Yes, it's very formal. And so I think that if you are not a glamorous red carpet, formal style bride, if you are like, I want floaty things, I want, boho, I want rustic, I want country, these are not the waves for you, are they?
No, I would agree with that as well. And I think it's the formality of it, isn't it? It is the glamour of that style that makes it so appealing, and it's why you see it everywhere. But it can be a shock if you're not used to it. If you're someone that's not used to wearing your hair like that, it can feel a bit whoa. And especially if people come to their trial with no makeup on as well, I think that can really make a difference. Like, bring a red lippy with you if you're not sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I usually do say to my clients to wear a top that has a similar neckline to their dress.
Yes.
Because that way they can at least, even if they're wearing jeans, they can kind of see what they look like from
a hoodie.
Exactly. They can see what they look like from kind of like, the torso upwards.
Yes.
So that's another thing that we would say. If you are, if your mood board is full of Hollywood waves, just ask yourself, are you a red carpet bride? Like, is that your style? Because if you're not, and if, you spend your life in, T-shirts and comfortable clothes, and even when you go out, you're not kind of a kind of very formal style person, then I'm not saying you're not going to like it. You might love it. They might be surprised. But I would say have a backup. Have a backup style, because they might be shocked.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So say you are the bride. You're the bride that wants the red carpet waves, and they come to you, Stacie. What are you going to ask them? What are you going to let them know about these waves so they can decide if it is right for them?
Okay, well, firstly, I'm going to ask you how well your hair holds a curl, because even with extensions in, if you're someone whose hair does not hold a curl, to make this style last 8, 10, 12 hours, it's going to struggle. Even with extensions in, I just would really think about that. I'd also ask you if you're a toucher. Are you somebody that likes to touch your hair? Are you a flicker? Are you like this? Because it's just, that's something that you will massively, you'll have to tie your hands behind your back if you're having Hollywood waves.
Yeah.
So,
you need to pretend when you have them, you need to just pretend that you are essentially royalty, and that you are not going to move. You will move for no one. Everyone's going to pick stuff up for you. You're not going to bend over. People are going to hand you things. You need to kind of get into that royalty mindset.
Yeah. I had the most fantastic bride. I spent 2 hours putting in these 24-inch extensions.
Wow. That's
doing
very
this
long.
Hollywood wave.
And for anyone who is
long.
listening, 24 inches is like nearly the maximum length. It's almost waist length, isn't it?
It's nearly waist length, yeah. And it looked fabulous. And she'd put her dress on and she was looking amazing. And the photographer said, "Can you just flick your hair?" And she just looked at him and went, "No." I I thought, yes. And it was so funny because and I was still there because I was waiting to put the veil in, and she went, I can't touch my hair, can I, Stacie? And I was like, no, please don't. And she went, no, I'm not moving. You'll just have to take the photo here. And I was like, yes. She understood the assignment.
Oh, that is music to my ears. That
was
is
brilliant.
beautiful. That is beautiful.
It was brilliant.
I threaten my brides in the kindest way, by the way. I threaten them kindly. I say, if I see your hand go above boob height, I'm going to sound an air horn because you must not touch that hair. And if anybody puts their hands anywhere near your hair, I will sound 2 air horns because I do not want anybody touching that. Now, we make it to last, don't we? Like, there's so much product. And again, that's actually something you can probably explain about in a moment. There's so much product on there. It is made to last. But if you would like to have all of your photographs for like the rest of the day, with those gorgeous, uniform, stunning waves, you do need to respect them a little, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people are not opposed, but they're not used to having that much product in their hair. So, you know, you not only have you got the extensions in, but you've got a lot of product. It's a lot of, I'm sure you're the same, it's a lot of layering the product up, a bit of back combing, you know, you've got your powders, your wax sprays, your hair sprays, texture sprays sometimes, you know, and that's, you know, after we've put potentially blow dried something into the hair to start with. So yeah, it's a lot of product that some people are just not used to having.
No, they're not. And do you know what? I don't think it happens so much here, but I follow an Australian hairstylist. And I think maybe this is more, this happens more in Australia. But she says she gets a lot of clients that ask for no product in their hair. And
oh, wow.
I know. And I don't know whether it's an Australian thing. I don't know whether it's something to do with the fact it is flipping boiling out there and people just don't really want things in their hair because they feel warm anyway, and maybe it makes them feel a little bit, you know, sticky. But she says she gets people that says that, and thankfully I don't think that's so much of a problem here. But I actually did have one client, I think year before last, who said, I really don't want any product in my hair. And I said, look, I'm just going to be honest with you, this will not last. If we can't put product in, I mean, maybe you've got a couple of hours, you know, you're not going to have that 12, 14 hour lasting that you're coming to me for my expertise for. You know, if you don't want product in your hair, then, you know, maybe a wedding specialist isn't the right person for you, you know. And what else do they need to consider?
Yeah, so I suppose the weather, and if you're somebody that is quite a hot person, that can often be a, you know, getting warm on the back of the neck. At the end of the day, it's moisture. So if you're somebody that naturally runs hot and you're getting married in July, it might be something just to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. And neckline as well. That's something we've already said before. Again, if you've got lots of sequins or lacy bits, I've had that before. And
beading.
They turn, beading. Somebody will turn their head and they're like, oh, my hair is stuck. My hair is stuck. That's another thing to consider is there anything that your hair can get caught on, essentially?
Yes, absolutely. That is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. And you made a good point at the beginning. Your first point is it was about, even with extensions, if your hair doesn't hold a curl, then it's probably not the right style for you. And the reason for that, or the reason I would say that, you know, that would be the case, is because when you're doing the front part of the hair here, some of this here, especially at the top here, in your fringe area, that you cannot put an extension really in this part here. You can have it here, can't you? But you're kind of limited. So it kind of means that this part of the front here has got quite a high chance of like flopping and of falling out, hasn't it? I mean, that's the advice I would give. What would you say?
I'd agree. And especially because that bit is, again, like coming back to the temperature, like your face is obviously warm and you've got all this hair kind of sitting around your face. That is just, it's kind of not a good recipe.
No.
for longevity.
It's not. But I would say this is a great style if you want something timeless, if you are quite happy to be queen for the day and not do a whole ton of moving. I mean,
Yeah.
I do say to people, honestly, once you've had your dinner, once you've done your speeches, once the dancing starts, if you want to headbang on that dance floor, go for it.
Yeah, you go for it. You do what you want.
Go for it, mate. You know, crowd surf, mosh, whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we don't mind. But yeah, there is
Yeah.
a certain amount of stillness.
I had a crowd surfer last year, which I just wasn't Hollywood waves. And it was so funny. And I remember chatting to the photographer saying, "Oh my God, her hair." There was all these pictures and she's obviously like got people's fingers in her hair. And I was like, "Oh my God." And the photographer was like, "It's so funny. All I saw is a bride having like a whale of a time and the best day of her life." And I thought, yeah, she doesn't care. She's just having the most amazing time. I mean, you know, I think that's the perfectionist, isn't it? Like in us, where we're like, ooh, don't like looking at the photos too late on, but you don't know what people are getting up to. And in this case, yeah.
Crowd surfing. I have had that actually. I did have that, and it was. I thought it was really, really fun. I was very happy for her, but it was really late. It was later in the night, and by that point, all of your formal photos. Do you know what I mean? All of your pretty
done.
photos, they're done, aren't they? Like you can do what you like. I don't mind. Actually, I quite enjoy seeing what people get up to when I see the photographs afterwards.
I think this was pre-first dance, so I was a little bit like,
do you know what? When I see as well, and again, maybe it's just us being hairstylists and being very precious. When I see the photographs, or if I'm sent them, and I see people cuddling the bride when they're wearing their hair down. I knew you were going to say that. As soon as I see the photograph, I just like a little a tear
die
falls from my
inside
face.
a little bit.
Yeah. And I want to just bat them away. I'm like, do you know how much she's paid for that? Can you just get away from the hair, for goodness sake?
Yeah.
And even in, you know, before she's even left, and, you know, you have the lovely emotional moments when, you know, you have a reveal to a mum or a dad or to the bridesmaid and they want to hug them. And I understand that. But equally, this is when I need the air horn in hands.
Yeah, no bear hugging.
But yeah, they're very beautiful. But you just have to, you just have to put up. You just have to put up with these things. So it's just something to consider. Yeah. I would say to clients, if you are now thinking, I'm not 100% sure, what are the alternatives? What do you suggest when people are a little bit put off by that?
I would go for a more relaxed wave rather than a structured Hollywood wave. But I guess it's just pointing out that longevity wise, it may not be the same. You may need to run a brush through it at some point when you take your veil out. You know, if you want to be able to have the waves where you can kind of flick your hair about, you can't have them in that uniform, because the thing is, obviously with the traditional Hollywood waves, the reason they look so good is because they're in that uniform wave. If you run your fingers through it, you're going to split it, and then you're potentially going to get it bouncing up into that little sausage curl that has to happen before obviously it's brushed into the wave. So if you want something a bit less structured, it is going to look a bit more, I don't know, a bit more boho-y, I suppose. And I don't think that's uncommon. I've had lots of clients that have said, I just want to be able to throw my hair around. And I understand that. But I mean, I have got rubbish hair, honestly, my own hair. This is fake. For anybody watching, what you see on screen right now is all fake hair. I have fluffy hair with no weight to it at all. And I would love to be able to throw my hair around somebody that's got like decent thickness hair, like your Stacie, actually. So I understand their desire to want to do that, I have to say. But you just have to make those choices and make those compromises, don't you? You have to choose, do you want longevity or do you want this particular style? You know, sometimes you have to make that choice. Sometimes if you're very lucky, you can have both of the things. But you need to be prepared, don't you, to have to make a choice between one or the other. Absolutely.
So that's our little chat about Hollywood waves. Is there anything else you want to add? Is there any other points you want to make? Anything else you want to express about your favourite style?
No, I think we've covered most of the parts. I think it is, yeah, just the kind of no touching rule and the amount of product and the structure that's required for your traditional Hollywood. I think if you're on board with that and you're happy to go with it, then everyone will be happy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think one last point I will make about it, Hollywood wave is a very specific hairstyle, and not
Yes.
every bridal specialist does Hollywood waves.
Yeah.
When you're looking for your hairstylist, actually, this is another whole podcast we could do this on. When you're looking for a hairstylist, you need to be scrutinizing that portfolio. And if you've
Yeah.
seen one, like, bash at some Hollywood waves, which are like all right, but not great, on the whole of their Instagram, they are not a Hollywood waves specialist.
Yeah.
They're probably not comfortable doing it. And it's a style that actually takes a lot of training, because you train people to do that style, don't you, Stacie?
I do, yes, yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to master. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just curling and brushing the hair through. Not if you want it to last all day. And it was something I never really used to do. And then I've probably spent the last 3 or 4 years kind of really like working out what technique works for me, what products work for me, what
Yeah.
I need to do to get that wave.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, I totally agree. You need to go through people's Instagram, and if you're not seeing every other or every few images or reels, or there needs to be a good selection of Hollywood waves on there.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, yeah, that person. And actually, there's a lot of people that don't like doing it, and that's
Oh, they
okay.
hate
Like
it.
some people are like, oh my God, I hate that style, I just don't do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I just say, if you're looking for that style, guys, like, really make sure that you are choosing a stylist that's very, very confident in it. And
yeah,
I know I said that was my last point, but I've just thought of another thing. I knew this would happen.
it's fine. It's
Okay,
fine.
Stacie, the length your hair needs to be for a decent Hollywood wave, what do you suggest? Because it can't be short, can it? Really?
Not really.
I've done it on a bob. I have done it on a bob, a long
Yeah,
bob, and it has looked absolutely lush. However,
yeah.
you lose a lot of the length, don't you? Because of the way
Yes.
the hair it travels.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I would say you probably want to be like what, boob length for a decent. I think
Yes.
you need to get at least 3 waves in there at
Yeah.
least to make it. So I always go for like the 18-inch hair extensions and somebody that's around the 18-inch. I have done it on 16. That's probably the shortest for a long Hollywood wave. But yeah, your 18 to 20-inch, that kind of boob length, bra strap length
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a sweet spot.
Yeah.
That's always really nice.
And what is the longest you've ever done it on?
Probably that 24. Yeah, so it just took me so long to curl
So
it.
long. Oh my goodness me. So, and we're going to make another point. We've got so many points. The longer your hair is, guys, the longer your little bum is going to be glued to that chair. Because I would
Yes.
say, for something that long, for me personally, I'd want to give myself 2 hours for something that long.
Yep, I agree. I'm
Yeah.
around. I'm at least sort of like, I tend to do it in 2 sections. So I'll do like the maybe 90 minutes for the putting extensions in, curling and brushing through, and then let them have their makeup done. And then I always come back to that front bit afterwards, because your makeup artist equally is going to want to spray a setting spray over your face, and that's wet. So I'm not
Yes.
setting these waves in place just for it to get wet.
Yeah.
And obviously the makeup artist has to do that because obviously their work needs to last. So I usually split it
Yeah.
into sort of 2 settings and give myself then like another half an hour to really brush all that front bit out and get that kind of quiffed bit in if that's what they're having. So yeah, I reckon about 2 hours is standard.
Yeah.
So yeah, bring a cushion.
Yeah, it's a long time to sit still, but I think it's worth
It
it.
is.
I think it's bloody worth it, especially for hair that length. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
show-stopping. I speak to them sort of after their wedding. They're just like, everyone commented on the hair. The hair was
Yeah.
what got the comments. And do you know what? A few years ago, I went to London and I helped a makeup artist out on a makeup competition, and I did Hollywood waves on her model for her. But it was a makeup competition, so it was about the makeup.
Sure.
And the judge of the makeup competition actually said that the hair was too showy.
What?
meaning that the hair was bloody beautiful. And I think in some ways it took away from, you know, some other aspects. And I was like, this is the best hair. It suits this makeup. Like, it goes together. So if you want to be a showstopper, if you want to be a red carpet queen, then you need Hollywood waves in your life.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, let us talk about one last thing, Stacie, because I know that, again, we've been talking for a long time and we could talk for some more time.
We'll do part 2.
We'll do part 2. We're going to do part 2. But the other way to enjoy your kind of your hairstyling journey, as it were, on your wedding day is you need to have a lovely calm time at your trial, because trials are super important, aren't they?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So I would say that when you come in for your trial, obviously we both prep our clients about what to bring. We've had our consultations with them, you know, talking through the ideas, so they've got a rough idea what to expect. And I would say that you need some quiet time, you need some calm time in your trial. And one thing I found this past year is that sometimes people will bring someone with them to their trial. And that in itself isn't necessarily a problem. But I have found that sometimes by having somebody at your trial, it can confuse and overwhelm the bride.
Yes.
Have you had that experience yourself?
I have had, brides that think they like her style and they have it, and then whoever they've brought with them kind of chimes in, what about this and what about that? And I'm sure it comes from a place of love, but I'm kind of like, she just said she really liked this style and now you're confusing her. And and then it can just throw in a lot of confusion. But choose wisely whoever you're going to bring with you.
Choose wisely. I mean, I would say that you probably, in an ideal world, a client should probably come on their own. I just want to let them know I'm very nice. The salon's very nice. There's no need to feel scared. And also when
Same.
exactly. And the other thing is that they don't need to make any hard and fast decisions on the day, do they? No,
not at all. So many times people will try 1 or 2 styles and they'll go away and think about it and let me know nearer the time. And that, have a think about it. Talk to your bridesmaids and family about it afterwards. But when you're there on your own, I think you trust your judgment. You'll get a gut feeling, won't you, of what you like and what's right and what's not.
100%. Yeah, I would say that I've probably had the people that unfortunately do throw a little bit of confusion in the mix. Is, I'm so sorry to say this if people have close relationships with their mums, but it is often mums. They often have a lot to say, and when they got married, it was very different from now.
Yes.
Like, I'd say now, although we have just talked about the most formal style there is, the Hollywood wave, styles generally now are a lot more relaxed. They look a lot different from what they did 20, 30, 40 years ago. And so mums go in with thinking they're going to see a certain thing, and when they don't, they sometimes have a lot to say about that. So I would say to a client, if you are thinking about bringing your mum, just let her know the sorts of things you've been looking at, the sort of styles you like, and just kind of just ask her to be there to support you. And I mean, what I'm trying to say is, as long as they don't interfere, then it's probably fine to bring them. And I'll be completely honest with you. If you're a client listening, I'll just be completely honest from a human perspective. I'm trying to work really hard to please my client and to give her what she wants and to make her feel amazing. And when there's a third dynamic in there, it's quite stressful for me as a stylist. Would you agree?
you almost feel like you're being like watched, don't you? Like you've got these prying eyes on you. And I think that's a great point that you made about like showing your mum or whoever you're bringing like what you're thinking of, because it manages expectation before you arrive at the appointment. So she's not sitting there thinking, oh, I don't really like that. And I think maybe sometimes the more undone, relaxed, like low buns, those kind of things where they that it's a bit like that no makeup. It's still a lot of prep and it looks good and it takes the time to do. But the finished result is that it is that undone look, and it's not supposed to look like it's taken 2 hours to do.
Yeah.
And they're sort of a bit, oh, is that it? Is that what you're having? Oh, it's a bit messy. Oh, it's like, that's the inspo picture. Yeah,
that is what she wants.
That's what she asked for.
I know. So, yeah, I would say, I don't want to be negative, No. And the thing is that, as I've said in previous episodes, this is the podcast for the overwhelmed bride. And I think the way to feel overwhelmed is to have a billion different opinions that you didn't ask for.
Yeah.
So I would say trust your gut. And if you are nervous, make sure you email your stylist beforehand or you message your stylist.
Yes.
I'm there for all of my clients. If they have any questions, any concerns, any worries, I can help them with that. And as we were saying, whatever we do on the trial, we can make tweaks on the day. There's no need to be afraid. And if your mum does ask to come with you, I would say the best thing to say to her is you can come. In your opinion, I will ask.
Sure. Yeah. And just prepping them beforehand. Like, this is what I'm thinking of, so that it's not a surprise to her thinking, oh, is that all she's having? Because it might be the style of her dreams, and now some people might throw that doubt into their mind, and then they're like, oh, is it not enough? Should I not have this? Should I? I think brides are quite good at gauging. There's so much out there. You can get a good feel most of the time of the sort of thing that potentially you'd like. So and then if somebody throws another opinion in there, it can make you like second guess yourself, and then you might feel really overwhelmed and think, oh, I don't know what to have. So trust your instinct, I think, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's great. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Stacie. It's been amazing to meet you, like, at last. We've still not met in real life, but I have been an admirer.
We'll have to do that.
Yeah, we will. I have been an admirer of yours for some time, so this has been amazing.
Oh,
thank you for coming on. So if somebody wants to check out your work, maybe if they're a hairstylist listening to this, maybe, how can they also find out about your work and your education program as well?
Yeah, so the best place to find me is on Instagram at Stacie Goodwin Bridal Hair. So that's probably the best place. And then from there, you've got the links to the website, staciegoodwin.co.uk. And drop me a message. Let's have a chat if you're interested in the education. That's where I'm heading a little bit more next year as well. So really exciting.
Excellent. You're going to teach some more stylists the mysterious art of Hollywood waves.
That's the one. That's the dream.
That needs to be your little tagline, the mysterious art of Hollywood waves. Oh, well, thank you so much, Stacie. It's been amazing to speak to you. And
thank you. It's been great.
We get to meet in real life soon. Take care. See you later.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. It was useful for you, that I haven't put you off Hollywood waves. I really hope that's not the case, because I absolutely bloody love doing them. Next week, I'm going to be speaking to a makeup artist. We are going from hair to makeup, the natural progression. And I think you're really going to enjoy this episode if, again, you're searching for the right makeup artist. If you have liked this episode or any of the other episodes, I would really appreciate it if you could rate us on Spotify, because that helps everyone else, or a few other people at least, see the episode. So thanks so much for listening, and I will see you next time.